Well, one of the people that he jumped in the rankings this past week is the former world number one and the man he beat in the final, Gerwyn Price. It's the second defeat in two major finals so far in 2023 for the Iceman. But despite that, how should he assess his week in Leicester?
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating for Gerwyn Price to miss out again on a major title. And if we're just looking at major singles finals he's been in during his career, this is only the second time that Gerwyn's lost back-to-back finals. The previous time, the 2019 Players' Championship finals, followed by the 2020 UK Open, both times losing 11 legs to 9 to Michael van Gerwen in Minehead. Well, how did he bounce back from that? Well, we had the pandemic first, but during that behind closed doors / small crowd era that we had, he won the next three finals, the World Grand Prix, the World Series finals, and the biggest one there is, the World Championships, to go top of the rankings. And I'm not expecting another global pandemic to spark off now that Price has lost back-to-back major finals again. But I do think it is going to be a source of real motivation for Gerwyn Price to get it right next time round. And I think back to the Premier League, we spoke about Gerwyn Price after he lost the final in the playoffs to Michael van Gerwen, having dominated the season. He finished, I think it was 6 points clear at the top, and even up to the semi-finals on that finals night, the 107 average to beat Johnny Clayton 10-2, he looked like he was ready to win that title and prove why he was the best player in the tournament, but lost out to Michael van Gerwen 11-5 in the final. And I think with the World Grand Prix, it can be hard to gauge the level of performances with it being double start. And I always think a high 80s average is around a 94, 95 in a normal game. And then low 90s, you're talking a high 90s into a ton average. And that's where Gerwyn Price was pretty much all of last week. He didn't drop a set until the semi-finals against Michael Smith, where he came back from 2-1 down to win that 1-4-2. And the final, you look at it, he didn't play that badly. 91 average, 50% doubling in, over 50%, just over doubling out. And he lost the third set with a 102 average, the sixth set with a 96 average. And it's not often in the World Grand Prix that you see players losing sets with 95 plus averages, let alone twice as well. So I think Luke Humphries, he had that slow start, the below 70 average in the first set. But after that, he averaged more than Price in each of the sets, and he won 5 of the next 6. The 99, 102, 95 set averages got him the next 3 sets to go 3-1 up. And it did have shades of the 2021 Grand Prix final, where Price, again, averaging over 90 in this format and losing to an inspired Johnny Clayton 5-1 on that occasion. And to top it all off, the 1-3-8 from Luke to win it in the decider of the 7th set. Gerwyn Price waiting on 24 to pull it back to 4-3 in sets. So I think when that goes in, you know it's not going to be your day. And I don't think Price is going to need more time to reflect on this one. I don't think he's going to let the dust settle more than it has. I think he's going to be looking to the next one now and moving on. And that's the good thing about this time of year. There's plenty of titles to be won. And as I say, on paper, 91 average, 50%, double in, double out. It is going to take something special to stop you. And that is what Luke Humphries produced there after that first set. So I think we're going to see with Price, there's been times before, and there'll certainly be times in the future where he's going to be the player dishing out those kind of performances and lifting these titles. So I think if he can put that frustration to one side, he's got to the final. I think he's just going to use that as more fuel on the fire to make sure that next time he gets to a final, he is going to be the one lifting that title, and he is going to be adding another title to what he's already won.
Yeah, I agree completely. It was, I think, the easy thing to miss is that Gerwyn Price lifted his game through that final as well. It just so happened that he was going against someone who was playing inspired darts and didn't let up. And every time Ghazi picked up his game, every time Ghazi found a gear he hadn't yet used, Luke Humphries found a gear to match and then surpass that. And it made it a near impossible ask for him to get back in that. But going back, that semifinal against Michael Smith, first time Bully Boy made even the quarterfinals of this event. It was the only major he had not made the quarters of before. Well, he made it to the semifinals. And early on, it looked like that was a fairly even match, but Michael Smith had edged in front. Gerwyn Price lifted his game and didn't let Bully Boy back into it. Never let Martin Schindler into the match, although Martin Schindler never let himself into the match, to be fair. In the quarterfinals and even earlier, Ratajski lifted his game in the third set and looked like maybe there was some life in that. Gerwyn Price then lifted his even more. He had a way to keep growing into the match and building into the match. And he'll have to take confidence from that, because even though he didn't win, he lifted to every challenge that came in front of him. And it took just a monumental performance where his opponent lifted even more to beat him. I don't think you can fault him for this past week. That said, it is definitely going to be frustrating, because for all that hard work that we've talked about so much that he put in earlier this year, winning those 3 consecutive Premier League nights and around that winning 2 Euro tours, topping the Premier League table, looking like the best player in the world, because for 3 months he was the best player in the world. He has no major single titles to show for it. Yes, he won the World Cup with Johnny Clayton, but besides that, he hasn't won a title, a major title this year. And that's something new for him, because you go back since winning that first major in 2018, he's won a major every year. He repeated in the Grand Slam in 2019. He won a pair of them in 2020. He followed that by winning the World Darts Championship at the end of the 2020 season, but you can say that's 2021, but who cares? He still managed to win his 3rd Grand Slam in 4 years at the back end of 2021. And then last year, he got over the line in a classic final against Dirk van Dijvenbode in Amsterdam in the World Series of Darts finals. But he hasn't won one this year. He had, the World Cup, but he hasn't won anything else. He hasn't even won a World Series event, losing a pair of finals. It's got to be frustrating, because for all the quality and for all of him being in with a chance, being in that position, he hasn't done it. He hasn't won a major. Even though he played really well, he wasn't all that close. There were 3 sets where he was not even at the races because, well, Luke Humphries was just that much better. I think he should take from this week that he's playing well enough. It's not going to be every major final where someone in essence is averaging 105 against you for that long. Because if you take away the first set, add 8 to 10 points to the averages, in essence, it was about a 105 performance that Luke Humphries was playing at over an extended period of time in set play. But it will happen. And even if he was only averaging 102 or 100, that might have been enough at times to still stay in front, to still push and make Gerwyn Price play catch up, where Gerwyn Price isn't as comfortable. But I don't think that's what he's going to take. I think he's going to take what the look on his face was, and that is just pure dejectment, feeling like he's further from winning than he really is. He should assess his week better. He should assess his week is that he was one of the best players over the course of the week, and he put himself in the position it just wasn't meant to be. But I don't think that's how he's going to assess his week. I think he's going to feel disappointed. That said, a disappointed Gerwyn Price can be a very dangerous one. So we'll see what comes from now. You mentioned how many major events there are coming up, but it's going to be important that he lifts one of those, because maybe the confidence will start to disappear if he's not winning despite some good performances.